How does sugar impact and affect your human energy field? Well, this is a question that I was asked after I made my video about drug and alcohol addiction. And a lot of people wanted to know because they could really feel the impact of how sugar kind of feels quite similar in that way. So my name is Nancy Rebecca. I am a registered nurse. I've been working with the human energy field for almost 30 years now. And yep, I know a lot about sugar addiction just for myself, and also a lot of people who've struggled with sugar addiction. And I've watched my own energy field, and I've helped people through kind of seeing their responses in their energy field. So I'm going to go through that today to see if you can relate to any of this. I do find that sugar is, you can kind of get through it. You can, there are easy ways to get through the sugar addiction, but maintaining it can be a little bit more challenging. So let's just jump in here. So sugar triggers and activates dopamine. So the dopamine in the brain is the feel good. It triggers the dopamine in the brain. When I'm looking at the human energy field of somebody who's eating sugar, loads of sugar, or even a tiny little bit of sugar, the whole brain lights up. It gets this kind of reddish glow to it. It's like this feels alive. Everything about you feels alive. And yet, it's not the same in the body. I see the whole body go darker. I see the whole auric field go darker. It's like very bright in the brain, so you feel like you've got it together. You feel like you can take on the world. You feel on top of the world. That feels really great. But you are totally disconnected from the body. So when you're eating sugar, you've disassociated a little bit. It's like you're not connected to your own spirit anymore. And if I can just kind of, maybe in an exaggerated way, it's like you're making sugar your God, just like you would make alcohol your God or the drug your God. You have now dislocated or disassociated from your own spirit, and now sugar is going to take its place at the front of the line in your life. But this is the thing about sugar that's a little different than the other things. It's just that you feel like you can do anything, and yet your body can't follow through with it. So again, sugar causes disconnect, disassociation, so you don't have to feel what you are feeling, right? So the mind feels awake, alive, inspires a flood of ideas that want to come through. You think, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this, but you don't have the follow through with the body because the body is disconnected. You find yourself unable to respond to the physical ability that got activated by the ideas in your brain. You also cannot have the life that you really desire, the relationships that you really desire with your spirit, because your spirit is floating above the body. Your spirit's looking down, and your spirit's like, hey, what I'm not just chopped liver over here. I'm a significant part of your life. So your spirit's kind of waiting to have access to the pineal and access to illuminating your life in all the ways that you really, really want it to be illuminated. So after that initial highly activated sugar brain of dopamine, and remember the body feels disconnected, then, we call it the sugar crash, but it's actually your entire nervous system and your brain is highly inflamed by the sugar. It's almost like an allergic reaction to sugar, and some people are more allergic to sugar than others. I think most everybody is, but and what happens is then you get really irritated, you get cranky, you get annoyed, you're really snappish, you got that hair trigger response to things, and that's actually the sugar addiction that's causing that. And what happens is you eat more sugar and then all of a sudden you're feeling better again. It's like that dopamine has just gone up and now you're not feeling irritated or frustrated or angry. And then what happens is then you have the crash, then you get irritated and frustrated again. So this is a vicious cycle of where you need that sugar to give you that kind of sugar high to help disconnect you from what you don't want to feel, whether you're conscious of that or not. I call it false happiness. So sugar gives you a false happiness, not a true happiness. And the residual effects, to me, it kind of looks like burnt sugar. If you've ever kind of boiled sugar before, maybe you want to make caramel and things like that, but the heat was too high and it can get burnt and black and charred and it tastes bitter. All right. So burnt sugar is what it ends up looking like in your energy field. So it ends up really looking black, really heavy, really thick. It's really heavy around the lower body. So remember, you've got your survival and emotional chakras in the lower part of the body. So physically, it's coating everything. I talked about this a little bit like with alcohol. Alcohol is a sugar, so I'm not surprised it looks the same in the body, but it looks like this kind of a black tar coating over everything in the body. You still have your soul light, you still have your spiritual light, but it's like you have beautiful eyes, but if you put sunglasses on, you can't see them, right? So that's what sugar does. Not over time, but right away in the body can cause this kind of burnt sugar coating. And the black stickiness, like burnt sugar, highly irritating. And then if you just would eat the darn sugar, you wouldn't be irritated anymore. Often when you eat sugar, you can't like yourself very much. You don't like yourself. You're disconnected from yourself. You don't like yourself and you don't like others. And then you eat sugar and then you like everybody again. So yes, in many ways, that is like a drug. Sugar's in everything. And so you don't have to eat the whole sugar bowl to have the effects of what I'm talking about. You don't have to eat a whole cake. You don't have to eat 10 candy bars to get the effects that I'm talking about. You can eat a recipe of cornbread that has one of the number one ingredients in it is sugar. Well, I know why they cook a lot with sugar, because it's an activator in the recipe. It helps activate the other ingredients in the recipe. Well, it's the same with your body. It can activate things, but it usually activates inflammation and annoyance and irritation. So again, you get this false sense, this surge of enjoyment in the brain that makes you think you really like that recipe, that food, because, a little bit of sugar, how's that, Mary Poppins? A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. And I wrote in big bold letters here, and I do believe it, that coming off of sugar can be easier than you think. And what you want to do is you want to give yourself 3 to 5 days to really detox from the sugar. And then you just need to stay off sugar. I mean, that's, I know the thoughts of that are just like, that's going to be impossible. And why do I have to live with sugar? And we talk about things in moderation, but there's something that's happening in the frequency and the vibration of the world. As our frequency goes higher, more of our spirit comes down into the body. We are getting to a place now where we cannot tolerate much of that disassociation, that disconnection from our spirit. We just can't tolerate it very much because the frequency on the earth is going up so high. So then where you may have found that you could have eaten sugar and you felt great and it just didn't impact you that much, that a lot of people are now finding it's like, wow, I just can't eat a lot of sugar anymore. I don't know why. It just means that your energy field is at a higher frequency and the sugar really is, we have a term, contraindicated with the current health of your energy field. So coming off 3 to 5 days to detox, look at all the ingredients and literally avoid all sugar, even if it's a little tiny bit of sugar in the food that you're eating. Any form of sugar, including honey, including alcohol. This is the other thing that I found really surprising. False sugar sweeteners can also trigger a dopamine response. And the body can still shut down even with fake sugar. It can also slow down your digestion and absorption. We just can't catch a break, right? It's like, are we going to be able to enjoy anything? Fruit will work. All right. So it's the inflammation that's the hardest for the body. So as you are getting off sugar for 3 to 5 days, you want to drink lots and lots of fluids to help flush any kind of sugar out of the system. You might get headaches, you might get body aches as you are detoxing off the sugar. It just depends on how much sugar you normally eat on a daily basis. You definitely want to cut out the sugars like sodas. So it can be easy, but you have to be diligent about it. And then once you're off of it, if you just stick to, you can have anything in your diet that doesn't have sugar in it, then suddenly you're going to find that you don't even crave it. The times that you crave it are going to be times when, if you're an emotional eater, it's like you don't want to feel what you don't want to be feeling. And so then what I find when I reach for something that has sugar in it again is when I'm overly tired and probably haven't been eating healthy throughout the day. But let me go back to what's happening in the human energy field. Your sixth chakra can light up, but the rest of it's like lights off everywhere else. There's an enormous amount of inflammation, and then there's irritation and anger. So I did a little experiment for myself because I was finding I couldn't tolerate sugar in the same way. So I thought, well, it's just my age or whatever. And then I realized, it's the frequency in the earth. But this is the thing, is that once I really got off sugar and I was off for about a month, you couldn't push my buttons. It's like I couldn't get angry. I couldn't get irritated. I couldn't get annoyed. I wasn't trigger happy with my emotions. I couldn't make it happen. And it would be like, well, Nancy, this would normally irritate you, and I can't even make that irritation happen. So that's one of the enormous benefits of getting off of sugar. Now, natural sugars are different. Even eating a piece of sugar cane where the sugar cane is grown out of the earth, you will even have a different response to that type of sugar, and even to honey when it's harvested the right way. After you've been off of it for a while, you can have little bits of those really natural sugars, or like a lot of fruit and things like that do not cause that same type of inflammation in the brain. So if you eliminate all sugar and then try to get angry, you're going to find it's not possible. And so just try it yourself. Write in the comments section if you've noticed that connection between irritation, annoyance, and sugar. Let me know what you think about it. And for me, it's just no longer worth it. Every time I eat sugar, it can take days to, I have to go through those days again. And it's the same with alcohol and with drugs. It's like when you relapse, it's like, I got to go through all this to get back on track again, and sugar can be the same way. So this is for you all out there who were asking me to talk about sugar and how sugar impacts the human energy field. So try that experiment with yourself, but just know that as you begin to meditate more, raise your vibration and frequency more, you're just going to find that you're just not even attracted to anything that's going to disconnect you from your relationship with your own spirit, your own soul. So, and that's where we're going, right? We're going to those higher places. All right, everyone, take care, enjoy. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.